Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel, and in today's video I'll be showing you how to complete the main Easter egg quest for Ashes is Damned inside of Black Ops 7 Zombies. This Easter egg quest is kind of tricky, but it's not that bad once you've learned it. If this video helps you at all today, please consider liking and subscribing to help me out. So the first thing you want to do is turn on the power by coming over to the power generators and shooting the spores off of them. There's one in Blackwater, there's one in Ashwood, and one in the farm. The power switch for Blackwater after doing the generators upstairs in the cabin. The next generator is at Ashwood, and the power switch is located up here at the top of the stairs on the bridge. Make sure you apply Pack-a-Punch to Old Tessie while you're at Ashwood. The last generator is at farm, so circle back and do the one at farm as well. Then turn on the power switch at the top of the barn. Now, the next step you need to do is get the Wonder Weapon. To get the Wonder Weapon, you need to head over to spawn at Janus Towers and walk up to this crate. An Uber Klaus should spawn, and you'll need to kill him. He is weak to napalm burst, and if you have a good gun and perks. After you have killed him, he should drop you the stabilization chip that you'll need to collect. Now you need to bring the stabilization chip over here to Klaus, and then you'll need to throw 2 stun grenades into a cell. Maybe it takes 3, but you'll know this is done if he has the stun effect around his head. Once you have Klaus on the map, you need to head to the Cosmodrome and head to the underground section right here and use your little remote control to command him to stand in front of this machine. Now, this could be takes a little bit of time, but once he gets down there, he should stomp the ground and this machine should activate. Now you need to go and interact with the machine itself, and a red circle on the ground should spawn. Stand in that circle and wait it out, so this can be tough as well. Once it is done, you should be able to collect the ether barrel. This ether barrel is going to slow you down, so I'd recommend waiting till the end of the round. Once you got the ether barrel, you need to take it to Ashwood first and just wait it out. Just run around in a circle and wait for the thing to finish. You'll be on a timer, so make sure you're quick. But then after Ashwood, you need to head to Blackwater Lake and then finish at the farm last. Make sure farm is last. Once you've done all 3 of them on the time limit, you need to head to the underground and farm and place it next to this box on the ground. Now you need to use the launcher from the farm to the Janus Towers, and you need to memorize the 3 red symbols on the rooftops at the farm. Alright, once you memorize the 3 red symbols on the rooftops, you need to head to the green box in the basement and input those 3 symbols on each of the 3 sides of the box in the ground. Once it's done, you should be able to interact with the eye on the front. If done correctly, it should give you the Wonder Weapon, and now you'll be stuck in a lockdown in this green circle. Now there's going to be these green orbs that you need to use the Wonder Weapon on, so shoot them with the Wonder Weapon and then recall your ammo or reload, and it should call those orbs back to you. Be careful, zombies will spawn in, so do this as quick as possible so you don't get overrun, and just shoot all the orbs and make sure you got them. If done correctly, you'll be given the Wonder Weapon. Now for the next step of the Easter egg, you need to make sure you have Wisp's Tea, so go ahead and grab that. Once you have Wisp's Tea and it's active, head up to the mirror at the top of Ashwood near where Klaus is in the Vulturade, and the mirror should activate. Shoot your Wonder Weapon at it, and it should shatter on the ground. Now, there should be a piece of chalk in front of the mirror that you'll need to collect. Now you need to head to Cosmodrome and interact with it on this table, and after a few seconds, a cipher should spawn on the wall, and you'll need to decode the cipher. Now on screen now, there should be a way to solve it. Now there's the cipher and each of the parts, and then the text next to it is how you get the parts and what they are. Now you need to head over to the diner and open up the diner, and now you need to wait for the cook to spawn. After the cook zombie spawns and you've killed him, he should drop you a key. Now you need to go inside the diner and open up this freezer, and it should give you the next part for Old Tessie's upgrade. Now, bring Old Tessie to Ashwood and apply the upgrade using the same workbench you applied Pack-a-Punch with. Now you need to head over to Blackwater in the kitchen and collect the spores. Now you need to place the spores from Blackwater over to the farm on this dead cow on the ground with the mushrooms already growing out of it. Now you need to wait 2 or 3 rounds until you can collect it. This is what it looks like when you can collect it. The next part is going to be the foot. You need to get a tomahawk or an axe to throw at this foot. The foot should fall off the body and fall into the ground. Now that the foot's on the ground, you need to get a Molotov and throw it at the foot in the ground to light it on fire, like you see me do here. If done correctly, you should be able to collect the foot on the ground once the fire clears. Alright, the next part is using the Ravengers. You need to use the trapper at farm or at the diner to kill Ravengers. Doesn't matter if it's Ravenger around or not, but they should drop you their eyes for you to collect. Alright, so the next part's located in the fog zones with these purple pods. You need to use the upgrade that you applied to Old Tessie to break them open, and they should drop you the next part that you'll need. There's multiple spawn locations for these pods. The next part can be found using the lasers on Old Tessie to kill a bear. Once you have done that to kill a bear, it is a little tricky, so I recommend wearing them down and then using them at the last second, and if done correctly, he should drop you the part. Next, you'll need to go, and once you got all your parts, you're only going to need 3 of them realistically, but once you got all your parts, you can go and input the code on the table like you see me do here. Now, warning, make sure you are decently set up because this next step is going to be tricky and it's actually a hard lockdown. So, once you're ready, add the blood to the vial like you see me do here, and the room's going to fill up with fog and you are going to be low health. Zombies are going to be spawning in all over this room, and again, you will be low health, so I would recommend you be decently set up for this. Once you completed it, the room will fill up with complete smoke and you'll get a small little cutscene, and then you'll also get a max ammo once the smoke clears. Alright, the next thing you want to do is collect 3 different keys around the map in the fog zones using the wonder weapon. First one's going to be the green key located between farm and Ashwood. This one gives you a negative effect of slowing you down, so I'd recommend having Old Tessie next to you so that way you can easily make it back to Ashwood. And once you get up there, you need to go up towards Jug and head to this pyramid behind where the building and where Jug is, and you should see this little pyramid with the chains on it. Input the key there and it should take off some of the chains. Each key has 3 different spawn locations. The green key is located in that window that you saw me pick it up from. The second one is in that blue crate that you see on screen. And then the third location is underneath the ship between these 2 barrels you see me ping right. The next key is going to be the yellow key we're going to try to get. It's on that cliff that you just saw me looking at there. And it can also be on this down pylon right here as well. They're kind of hard to spot. But the last location is up here closer to Cosmodrome. Shoot me where I'm shooting it right now and grab it. It's the hardest one to see in my opinion. This one gives you a negative effect of you having melee only, so you can just run back with it. You don't really need Old Tessie for this one, but be careful. Once you make it back and put it into the pyramid thing. The next key is going to be the red key. It's located near this dinosaur head right here. That one is probably the hardest one to spot. The next key is on the other T-Rex skull on the wall that you see on screen now. And this one's just off near where the other skull is. And the last red key location is way up top closer to the diner on the near these little shipping containers that you see me get it from here in my game. This one is probably the hardest one. I definitely recommend having Old Tessie with this, but it makes it to where your health is lower. But make it all the way back to Ashwood and then input it into the red pyramid thing in the back. This will start a cutscene after you input it all in, so just watch the cutscene, and after the cutscene is finished, you should be able to pick up this turret upgrade for Old Tessie. Go to Old Tessie and apply the upgrade to Old Tessie at the workbench in Ashwood. Once you have applied the turret to Old Tessie, make your way to where I do right here, and you're going to switch to the turret and shoot the floating clock in Ashwood, just like you see me do right here. Shoot one of the 4 faces on the clock in Ashwood with the wonder weapon and then reload, and it should turn you purple. Now with the purple wonder weapon, the first thing I'm going to do is head to Cosmodrome and shoot these 2 spinning satellites with the wonder weapon. You are going to have to use the launcher back to Ashwood to get another purple shot. Just shoot one of the other faces of the clock and then shoot the other satellite like you see me do here. Now, if this is done correctly, you should be able to head in this room and look at these 2 terminals right here. On screen now is how you solve the cipher. So there's going to be 3 sets, and each of them is going to correspond to different letters. Now you should have 3 sets of 2 letters, and each letter is going to correspond to a different number, starting with A being 0, B is 1, C is 2, D is 3, etc. all the way till Z being 25. Now you're going to look at these TVs and shoot the red buttons on the numbers that correspond to the letters you got from the cipher. Their TVs are in the exact same order of 3 sets of 2. So just look at the flashing numbers until you see the numbers you're looking for and input them shooting the red buttons on the TVs like you see me do here. Once you have finished it, your screen's going to flash light like you see mine do, and then the rocket at Cosmodrome is going to launch, so feel free to watch that. Now use the Tesla gun on the clock again to get another purple wonder weapon, and then make your way over to the farm and look at the clock on the wall. That time is going to be etched into the floor around the dining table, so whatever the time is on your clock is going to be the time you need to stand on the floor. Now stare at the skeleton at the table and wait for his head to turn to face you. Once his head is fully turned towards you, his eyes should turn red, and then you need to shoot him with the wonder weapon, and then I'll activate the step. Now you need to collect 4 different parts around the farm. So the first one's going to be located upstairs inside of the cabinet of the house. The next part's located upstairs in the barn on this dead body right here. The next part is located downstairs in the basement where we got the wonder weapon inside of this bathtub. And the last part's located in the shed where the mystery box location is on that table right there. Now you need to place all 4 parts on these red ritual circles around the farm area like you see me do here. There's 4 of them. Once you have placed all 4 parts, re-interact with the last part you placed down, and then it'll start this next step. This next step's tricky, so make sure you have a decent setup. Now you need to defend all 4 circles from zombies attacking it. You'll see the health on the left side of the screen. Once you completed it, you'll see this, and this will signify that you have completed the step. For this next step at the diner, make sure you have Melee Macchiato, Klaus is summoned, and you have Old Tessie at the diner. But once you've done that, get another purple shot of the wonder weapon and shoot that clock right there. Now you need to drive Old Tessie into this red truck in front of the diner, and you should see a red soul fly into this dead body on the ground. Now you need to get that red zombie onto the roof of the gas station pump area and to get him to stand inside of the red lightning. Now that he's standing inside of the red lightning, now you need to get Klaus to stomp on the ground to this dead body inside of the garage, and he should resurrect the body. Now you need to take that yellow zombie and get him to get on top of the roof and stand inside of this yellow lightning. I didn't have footage of it, but you need to use Melee Macchiato on the cash register inside of the diner, and it should resurrect the body next to it. Now take that blue zombie up to the roof of the diner and get them to stand inside of the blue lightning. Alright, once you completed the other challenges, now you need to get another purple wonder weapon and make your way over to Blackwater Lake and interact with this blue wisp on the docks. No matter what, Blackwater Lake is going to be the last challenge. Once you've done that, shoot the projector with the purple wonder weapon. Now you need to look at the projector screen and look at the images it's flashing. These are going to relate to 4 different projector reels around the map. They're going to be different in your game than they are in my game. But in my game, I got fishing hut, back of the house, front of the house, and then the shed. Then you need to go and find those projector reels in each of the locations and shoot them with the wonder weapon. So the fishing hut's going to be on the roof right there. Then behind the house is going to be on these side steps in the backyard right here. Front of the house is going to be upstairs inside of the cabin right here, like you see me shoot. And the shed is going to be in the shed on the shelf right here. Once you completed that successfully, you need to head upstairs into the speed cola room and walk near this bed where the blue wisp is. You don't have to interact with it, just get close to it, and you should hear some dialogue. Now you'll need to summon Klaus and head upstairs and get him to stand in front of the box at the foot of the bed. Once Klaus finally makes his way upstairs, he should reach into the box in front of the bed and grab the part. Now just escort him to the docks and he should go into position like you see in my game. Once you are ready, just interact with him to start the boss fight. Once all players have agreed to start the boss fight, all players need to go inside of Old Tessie, and you'll need to drive into the fog zones and drive into these red and white wisps that you see in the fog zones. There are 3 per fog zone, and you'll need to drive into different fog zones from Janus Towers to Farm to Ashwood to Blackwater. You can drive into all 4 of those fog zones and into each of the 3 wisps. If you miss them, you'll fail, and you'll have to end a round or 2 before you can start it again. But once you've driven to all 3 of them, you will start the boss fight. Now before entering the boss fight, I recommend all players be decent set up because this boss fight is quite tricky. It is not as hard as it was at launch, but it is still a very difficult boss fight, so I'd make sure all players are at least decently set up with triple pack punch guns, a decent set of perks, some decent field upgrade charges and gobble gums, and maybe some good equipment. Now I'm going to let you see where I drive to these wisps in each of the fog zones if you want to keep watching to see where I go. Or if you're ready just to see how the boss fight works, go ahead and skip to this timestamp on screen now. This boss fight will be split up into multiple phases, just like any other good zombies boss fight. This one has 3 different phases where he gains a new attack each phase. You'll be driving around inside of Old Tessie for the majority of the boss fight. There's those green little pod plants all over the boss fight that are going to continuously spawn to heal Old Tessie. It is going to be quite tricky to deal with at times, as Old Tessie is going to get low health quite a bit. If it does, it'll drop you plenty of salvage and you can repair it, but the issue is there's going to be super sprinters and all kinds of enemies outside of Old Tessie. Running on foot is also going to be quite tricky. There are a couple of power-ups high up on the walls that you can use the wonder weapon to grab if you need a power-up, but the power-ups also spawn down low on the floor inside of the map after each phase. You need to use Old Tessie to boost into the boss to do the most damage. If you do this enough on one of his heads, it'll pop his head off and it'll reveal this red critical point that'll do more damage. Once you've done it enough times, you should go into this blue spinning attack where he's going to constantly be spinning and this like blue coloration to be around him. You'll need to wait for a blue light to spawn. Here's that blue light, and it'll also heal to Old Tessie a small bit. But if you grab the light, he should go back into the middle. You'll need to boost into him and then come out and shoot the glowing yellow point underneath him, which will be his critical spot. Then you'll enter the next phase where he's got to rinse and repeat that all over again. Each phase is going to be harder and his attacks are going to be harder to avoid. So let's go over all of his attacks. In the first phase, he's going to have a red missile attack that is going to shoot these like little red spheres things on the grounds that you're going to have to avoid, and they're going to explode after a few seconds. This is probably the most annoying attack because it's hard to avoid and it's probably going to kill you the most often, but it is not the deadliest attack. Another attack is if you stay outside of Old Tessie for too long, he will grab Old Tessie and throw it at you, which is obviously not good because it damages Old Tessie severely and it also does a good chunk of damage to you. Another attack is he's going to spit out a bunch of Ravengers towards you, which is really annoying, but it's probably the least annoying attack. I'd say his most deadly and annoying attack comes in the third phase, is where he starts charging up a big laser beam. If you don't stop him from shooting this laser beam, it will follow you, and no matter what damage you force, you can get behind cover, but that's not ideal considering there's super sprinters and tons of enemies in the boss fight at all times. To stop the attack, boost into the purple glowing head like you saw me do there. Once you've completed it and you've done enough damage and you've killed him, congratulations, you have completed the main Easter egg quest for Ashes of the Damned inside of Black Ops 7 Zombies. There's different rewards for all the different game modes that are in this game, but once you've completed it, you'll get the ending cutscene and you'll be given the option to play again unless you're in directed mode. But yeah, hope you enjoyed, hope this helped you. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.